Hello, animal communicators, and welcome to this week's completely free, made just for you live power training. Today, I really want to hone in on something that's really deep, deeply embedded in my heart, and is the reason why I do this work. Okay, I want for us to look at effective questions. Now, if you followed me for a while, you know that I am super big on effective questions and the enormity of the impact and the difference that they can make when you ask a well executed, effective question in your animal communication work. If you followed me for a while, you will also know that my effective questioning teachings come very much from my background in counselling, therapy work, and coaching. And I want for us today to look at effective questions with a little bit of a twist, because I want to share with you some really powerful questions that you can be asking yourself, not asking the animals, but asking yourself so that you can be showing up as the best animal communicator that you possibly can be. That is the juicy material for today. So stay tuned. I've got some super powerful questions for you to be asking yourself and reflecting upon. Before we dive into that, for those of you that do not know me, my name is Sarah Jane LeBlanc. I'm a professional animal communicator, mentor, trainer, and coach. And I've been teaching people just like you how to elevate your animal communication work, or even just get started with your animal communication work. And I bring with me more than 30 years of background in education, in counselling, therapy work, and coaching. And I bring all of these different tools to the animal communication teaching arena so that I can help you be the most effective counsellor for the animals that you work with. If you're watching me on YouTube, please ding the bell, hit subscribe, hit follow to make sure that you do not miss one of these truly valuable teachings that I bring to you free every single week. So, effective questions. This is one of the top topics for students on my programs, and it was an amazing hit. I did for the very first time earlier this year. I actually offered out a masterclass in effective questions to people beyond my programs. So that was a first, and it was an absolute smash. The feedback was incredible. So this whole arena of effective questions is really, really powerful. It's how you work smarter, not harder. It's how you get the maximum return on your buck in your animal communication work with the animals. But today I want to put a juicy little spin on it, and I want you to be using these effective questions for yourself, because one of the things that I see over and over again is people who are frustrated with themselves, who are disappointed in themselves, who berate themselves because they're not doing the animal communication work that they desire to do, that they believe they are being called to do. There's a whole host of reasons why people don't show up to do the work, namely fear. Fear of getting it wrong, fear of being ridiculed, fear of judgment. Also, a real worry about not being able to be the best that they can be, so they can be the best voice for the animals. There's a lot of confidence and confidence related issues that show up for people as well. But ultimately, the main drivers, I've been doing this work a long time, more than 20 years, teaching people how to be animal communicators. So I think I've seen it all. And even if I hadn't, nothing would surprise me, because one of my passions is working with the mind. That's what I do in my other work. I work with private clients, do coaching, therapy work, and I just love breaking down how the mind works and then using that to help us as animal communicators be the best that we possibly can be. So, nearly all of the reasons that people have for not moving forward are fear based, whether it's fear of judgment, ridicule, shame. They might have done this work before and had a bad feedback and just wanted to hide and not come out to the world again. So there's all these very real and valid reasons. Mainly they are embedded in fear energy though. So I want you to grab a pen and a piece of paper. If you don't already have pen and paper, go grab that now, because you don't want to just listen to this. That's a waste of my time. It's a waste of your time. If you're just going to listen and not take action, I lovingly invite you just to switch off and go do something else. This is an active participation exercise that I'm going to take you through. It's super, super powerful. So first step, pen and paper. And then I want you to ask yourself, how do I feel right now about how I'm showing up in the world of animal communication? Maybe you're excited. Maybe you're like, yes, I'm so on this. I am just ready to go. I'm ready to go out and get clients or get more clients, or, maybe you're in that space. You're excited and you're ready to share this with the world. Maybe you're frustrated because you've been trying for the last 10, 20, 30 years to be proficient at this and you feel like you're barely past the starting gate. Or maybe you're just frustrated because you're stuck. You've got so far, but you know there's more you could do. Whatever your story is, that's real for you, jot it down on your piece of paper. Where are you right now in terms of how you feel about your animal communication work? And if you're watching this on the replay, you can just hit pause if you need more time. Because here's the thing, we all have fears, all of us. We all have fears, we all have doubts, we all have insecurities. And as I've said many, many a time, I would far rather work with a student on my program who has fear and who has doubt than somebody that's like, oh, piece of cake, I can do this in my sleep. That worries me more, that level of overconfidence, possibly ego. I would much rather work with somebody that was a bit underconfident, had a bit of self-doubt, because that keeps us sharp. If we have that little voice that's saying to us, don't know if you did a good enough job there, Sarah Jane, that's going to make us work harder. Or it's certainly, that's how it's worked for me in the past. That's driven me on to dig deeper, go further, get better results. And that has absolutely enhanced my work over the last 20 plus years. So we all have fears, we all have doubts. It's normal. And a certain amount of that is actually quite healthy. And I'm not exempt from fear either. I have a massive mission to complete on this planet before I leave it, and that is to impact the lives of 1 million animals. That's the mission that I've been given. 1 million animals. That's a lot of animals. I'm already in my mid-50s. That's not leaving me a lot of time to complete that mission, and I cannot do that by myself. So this is something that really comes up for me, and these questions that I'm sharing with you are questions that I've used for myself when I feel overwhelmed with that, when I feel the weight of the responsibility to make this impact before I leave this world, and do it while I'm still capable and still have all my faculties intact. So when I feel overwhelmed, or I feel that I'm shying away from it, because hands up, I've done that too. I actually ignored that mission for, I think, about 3 months. And then the universe just came knocking louder and louder and louder. And was like, okay, okay, okay. Why am I hiding from it? Why am I shying away? What is scary about this for me? And these are the questions that I used. So we usually know what stops us. There's common things that stop us moving forward in whatever we say we want to do. So over here, it's like, this is what I want to do. This is the conscious mind saying, I want to learn how to communicate with animals. And then over here, we've got all the reasons, all the beliefs that we have around why we can't do that. And so we usually know what's in this arena really quite well, and that will usually trip off the end of our tongue without much thought, without much consideration, because it's a kind of well-worn kind of pattern and habit that we have. And it's all about protection, but that's all for another video. So the usual things that stop people progressing in their animal communication work, so I'll keep it to animal communication, but this could actually apply to anything in your life that you say you want to do, but you're not actually taking action on. So the top common things are time. I don't have time to do that. I don't have energy to give to that right now. I don't have the money to do that. I don't have the health. My health at the moment isn't allowing me to do that. So these are the top reasons that people will give across all boards, not just animal communication, as why they can't progress with something. And the thing is, these are kind of well-worn stock responses that we haven't really thought about. So what I want for us to do here today together, with your pen, with your paper, is to really dive deeper into that. I want for us to go beyond that. And if you followed my animal communication teachings or have been at any of my events, you know that one of my strap lines is I want you to go beyond where the ordinary animal communicator stops. That's what we're doing right here, right now. We are going beyond where the ordinary person stops when they realize that they're not fulfilling the dreams that they say they want to do and they're not actually taking action on it. So that's what we're going to do here today. So we're going to dig deeper. And what I want for you to get clear on is that current feeling. Like, how do you feel right now about your animal communication progress, where you are on your animal communication journey? Maybe you're just brand new and you just know that you want to do it, but you don't know where to start. That's okay. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? That's the first piece. So if you did that earlier, that might already be nice and solid. Then I want you to think about, what's your bigger difference? What is the difference that you want to make? What difference do you want to make in the world of animals? Take a moment and really feel into that. If you're listening on replay, pause. If you're with me live, I invite you to come back and listen to the replay and really take your time, really go deep there. What difference do you want to make? How are you going to show up? How do you want to show up? In your dream world, I've got a magic wand, okay? Abracadabra, ka-ching! You're living your dream animal communicator life. What will you be doing? How will you be showing up? Where will you be showing up? But most of all, what difference will you be making for the animals? What impact do you want to make in your animal communication work? Write that down. Write that down. What difference do you want to make? Maybe you have expertise with horses. And I was actually just speaking to somebody this morning. Horses are her thing. And she wants to improve the relationship between the rider and the horse using intuitive connection and communication, not technical riding approaches, but real intuitive approaches. How do you want to make your difference? Maybe you have expertise with dogs and you want to really help resolve behavioural issues so that the guardians feel that they have fuller understanding of what's going on for their dogs, and maybe you will be playing a key role there. So there's just a couple of suggestions, but I really want you to dig deep into what difference you want to make. What is the difference that you want to make? If I had a magic wand, and people say that I do, and I just said abracadabra, ka-ching, you're living it right now. What difference would you be making in the world of animals? Then the next part is all about the impact. What will that impact create when you make that difference? When you go out and make that difference, what will the resultant impact be? What will the difference that you make, that you bring to the world of animals, what will the knock-on effect be? What will the impact be? So using the example from this morning, that the impact there is about improving the world, improving the lives of horses, one rider at a time. That's the impact there. Every time that client works with a horse, they'll be improving the relationship, they'll be improving the understanding, they will be helping not just the horse, but helping the rider, who will then talk about their experience. People will see the way that they ride that's differently, and that gets the word out, it gets the education out, and it creates that ripple effect, that beautiful ripple effect when we show up in true service and we make our difference. So what will the impact be in the world of animals when you show up and you make your difference? So get really clear on that impact. What will the impact be for the world of animals? And it doesn't have to be huge and all sparkly unicorns and rainbows. It could just simply be deepening the relationship. That's where I started with this work more than 20 years ago. I just wanted to deepen the relationship and understanding. That's where I started. That was plenty, plenty to be going on with. And it's just evolved and grown over the decades. But wherever you're starting, it doesn't need to be big. It can just be something really fundamental, like creating more understanding. But get really clear on what would that impact have. Less stressed animals, happier people, happier homes and households, happier yards. So just have a think about what your impact would be. And then I want you to think about 5 years from now, so 2029. That's quite scary, actually, isn't it? So at the time we're recording this, if you're seeing this in years to come, it's 2024. So 2029, imagine 5 years from now. 5 years from now, what would that impact look like? How many animals would you have been able to change the lives of in 5 years' time? So just think about how many roughly do you work with now? And even if that is just in my practice group, doing the weekly practice animal, when you are making your biggest difference and you have the confidence to do that and you know that you're doing it at your best level, how many more animals? That's the real question here, actually. How many more animals would you be working with than you currently are? So when your confidence muscles boost, when you are when that muscle's boosted and you have more security in what you're doing and you know that you're nailing this and that you are good enough and you're out there and you're doing it, how many more animals would you actually be brave enough to work with? So if you're only working with 2 or 3 right now, maybe that would double. Maybe you're working with 4 a month. Maybe you'd have the confidence to do 8 a month. Maybe you're already working with 8 a month, and that might give you the confidence to double that up to 16 a month. So get clear on these figures. They do help solidify this exercise. So get clear on those figures and then look at what impact that would be over 5 years. What's the impact that you're making right now, roughly, approximately per year? And when you feel skilled and you're making your difference and you see that working, what would that impact be in your new place, in your new desired future? What would that look like in 5 years' time? What's the difference in the impact that you're making right now and the impact that you could make over the next 5 years when you feel brave enough, confident enough to go and increase the work that you do because you're actually going out and doing it? Because remember, this is about exploring what's stopping us doing it. So even if you are doing it, I'm guessing based on more than 20 years of doing this work and more than 30 years of doing wider coaching, personal development, I'm guessing that there's definitely room for you to grow. So when you are in that growth space and you have grown and you are doing more, how many more animals would you be working with? And then multiply that by 5. And that will give you the impact that you can make potentially in 5 years' time compared to the impact that you are making right now. And maybe you're not working with any animals right now. And that's okay. Your number for right now is going to be a big fat 0. But if you really tune into, how do I want to do this work? What difference do I want to make? And then how many animals could I work with when I know I can do that? Would that be 5 a month? That would be 60 a year. That would be 300 animals you've impacted in 5 years' time. Whereas now you're doing zilch. So that's what I want you to get nice and clear on. And here's the interesting thing. I am a big believer in the simple fact that if we knew how to do something, we would just go and do it. So people that say, oh, I can't lose weight, if they knew how to lose weight, they would just go and lose it. Oh, I'm not fit enough. If they knew what would motivate them to get them off the couch and into the gym or out walking, they would be doing that. Okay, we all know how to eat healthier. We all know what we need to do to be fitter and more, do more exercise. We all know what we need to do. But if we're not doing it, we're not doing it. So this is the piece I want you to take from this today. So if you're not doing what you desire to do, remember this is your desired state here, but this is what you're actually doing over here. You know what you probably need to do, but there's something stopping you doing it. So we want to go into that place there. So have a think about what would happen if you did nothing. So if you carried on where you are right now and you did nothing, what would happen then? What would happen then? And really think about this. This is so important. What would happen if you chose to do nothing? Because it's always a choice. It's always a choice. What would happen if you chose to do nothing? Now, here's the thing. You might write down on your piece of paper, well, nothing. Nothing will happen. Doesn't actually matter. But I want you to go back to that very first piece that you wrote, which was about how you feel right now. So if you feel frustrated, if you feel disappointed in yourself, if you feel that you are not following your calling, and you're in a job that you hate. I've seen that so often. You're in a job that you hate, and this is really what you want to do. You want to be here doing what you're doing, fulfilling your soul's calling, but you're over here doing something totally different. And that brings with it frustration and stress and disappointment, where you just are really hard on yourself. If any of that is in your first comment, your first answer on your sheet of paper, then you think that doing nothing actually will result in no real change, and it won't really make that much of a difference. But you're going to still be, in 5 years' time, you're going to still be frustrated, still be beaten up on yourself, still feeling disappointed. And on top of all of that, look at that last question about what your impact would be in 5 years' time. That's the number of animals that you won't have helped, that you won't have made a difference to. Now, I say all of this with no blame, no shame, no judgment. I just see it all the time. And I'm just in a place in my own life's path where I'm being really called to be more and more direct. I know that people often call me the animal communicator that does no BS, because I just don't think there's any point fluffing around anything, and I'll call out a lot of BS that I see out there in the field of animal communication, especially in the teaching arena. And this is what I'm really being called to do more of now, is to really support you with love and compassion, no blame, no shame, no judgment. And my work's never about that, but it's really about giving you opportunity to have a real hard look at where you are and where you might be hiding behind these kind of stock responses. Oh, I don't have time, I don't have the energy, or I'm not in the best space right now. We can use those and will use those excuses, because that's what they are, my lovely. They just are. They're excuses. They feel real, and we can make them very, very real, but they are safety mechanisms. That's better than excuses. It's a softer response. They are safety mechanisms to keep you safe, to stop you feeling the fear, because it's the fear that's stopping you moving forward. Again, whole workshop for another time. So I really invite you to dig deep into the real reasons why you're not moving forward with your work. And if you are ready to be in a different place, not in 5 years, but a different place in 6 months' time, in just 6 short months, if you are ready to be in a different place, then please reach out to me. I'll pop the details, contact details in the post here. Reach out to me and I can have a chat with you and share with you different ways that I can support you. I've got range of different programs. If you're watching this real lifetime in June 2024, I have a workshop at the end of this month where we can work directly. There's just a couple of places left. It's a real VIP experience, but not at VIP prices. So you'll get my real up close and personal attention and mentorship in a way that I can't give at a bigger workshop. There are only 8 places and there are just a couple of places left now. So you can join me there. But if you're watching this after the workshop, I have programs that I can support you with. I have one-to-one mentorship programs. So you can do a group program that's kind of low key. You can do a deeper intensive group program. We can do a VIP. There's a whole host of different ways that I can support you in overcoming these safety mechanisms that have been holding you back, stopping you living your purpose, stopping you making your difference with the animals, so that in 6 short months, or even quicker if you do VIP, you'll be making the impact that you were born to make, that you were put on this earth to make. And that means that me and you and everybody else that I work with will all be fulfilling their own personal mission and how they're meant to show up for the animals. So don't stay stuck. You do not need to be stuck. There's nothing I cannot work with you on. Reach out and we'll see where your animal communication dreams will take you. Until next time, happy communicating.